Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another live. And this time we are talking about graduate school applications, how to secure scholarships. And we have a special guest today, someone who has been one of my biggest supporters on this app. He's always the first person to comment on my post for many years, and he has now gotten a very good scholarship. And he got multiple scholarships, by the way, and he is now doing his master's degree in Europe. And I want him to come on. I did my master's as well in Europe, and in my case, I also did not pay anything. And Europe was my pathway to coming to North America. And I want him to come and explain to us, share with us some of the things that he did for him to secure this multiple scholarships. It is in a non-STEM field, which is an area that we want to get people in and to know what opportunities are available. If you have a cousin or you yourself, you are wondering, can I get a scholarship for non-STEM field? I want an MBA scholarship. I'm in peacekeeping. I'm in social work. I'm looking for scholarships. And even if you're in STEM, the strategies that we're going to share here today is going to work for you. I'm just going to wait for him to come on and we can get started. If you're on here, you can go ahead and request to join so that I can get to bring you in. So I'm going to find him right now, and that he can, the information he will share today will first of all inspire you. Secondly, it will be strategic for you in terms of what you can do by yourself and what power you have in order to conquer. How are you doing today? And thank you so much for
Hello.
joining me.
Good
And
evening, doctor.
first of all, I want to start by thanking you. Thank you for being here with me over the years. I mean, you've been my biggest supporter on this app. I was just telling them how you were always the first person to comment on my post for many years. So I was always wondering, who's this person? Who is this person who is smart? The comments are always good. And thank you. I am so proud of you and congratulations on all your numerous wins. Welcome in. I will give you a bit of time for you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us about your background, anything that you feel like sharing today. Over to you. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from everywhere you're joining us from every part of the world. Thank you so much, Doctor, for having me on this platform. It's a great honor, and I'm happy to share the little knowledge and contribute in my own little way. To start with, my name is Abiodun Olale Yesoizim. I'm a graduate of History and International Studies from Ekiti State University, Nigeria. And presently, I'm pursuing my master program in Peace and Conflict Studies at Otto-Von-Guericke University, Magdeburg. So I started following Dr. Adi from 2020. I think I came across your post on YouTube. Then there was a series of quarantine with Dr. Adi. Yeah, so it was from that series. Then I came to Instagram, and since I think we should, or I should appreciate you for showing us possibility, because when we see individual like yourself and many other people that are doing something great for themselves in their industry, in their various field, it just shows us, we the coming generation, or even we that we are maybe friends or colleagues, it just shows us the possibility, and that as individual there's no limit to what you can achieve. So thank you so much, doctor, for all you do for the community.
Thank you, Abiodun, and welcome in. I think I will do more of this because I must tell you that we have so much success stories from quarantine with Dr. Hadi, people who are going to bring on scholarships and various things. And thank you for mentioning that because now names are starting to pop up in my head. Other guests that I can bring here who would also be able to share their insight. Now, I want you to tell our audience, right? But when did you graduate from school? And after you graduated, when you were in Lagos, how long did it take you to be able to get scholarship? Secondly, when you were in Lagos, what were you doing and how is that related, if it's related at all, to what you're doing now? Over to you.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2021. That was when my result was approved. So that's my official graduation date. And after 2021, I went for the NYSC, the National Youth Service, where I served at Abeokuta. So during the course of my service here, I was serving at Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library. First, I was working at the archive department where I worked as a digital archivist. Remember, I graduated from the Department of History and International Studies. So I was working at as a digital archivist, and what we do was we preserve documents and store them, historical documents, by converting it into a digital format. So after my service here, I was retained at the Presidential Library, and I take up another role as a administrative and research assistant. However, my scholarship journey started in 2021 during the course of my service here. So I came across a post on LinkedIn still talking about individuals that shows us possibility. So I just want to use this moment to congratulate everyone that is on this call today, because this is taking step towards your goal. And I'm sure that if you're looking forward to several opportunity, definitely is attainable. So I came across this post on LinkedIn when this lady mentioned that, oh, she got into Oxford University on a fully funded scholarship after attending a boot camp that taught her how she could put in for scholarship application. So I read through the lady's profile on LinkedIn. I'm like, I was telling my brother, I said, everything this lady has, I think I have it as well. I can also get into Oxford. The only thing I wasn't having was I was yet to enroll for the boot camp that she put in for. However, I've also sourced for other resources online to enhance myself and inform myself about the entire application process. So I make more information about the boot camp, as at then it was $100, which was about 50,000 in Nigerian currency. I said to myself, where will I see 50,000? Just this young graduate that is still serving his country. However, I just try as much as possible, put this money together, enroll for the boot camp, and the boot camp further provided me with additional resources with all that I've been putting together myself, and that was when I was able to get additional clarity as regard how to apply, how to source for different scholarship opportunity. And after then, my consecutive application were much easier compared to before putting in my application, before enrolling for the boot camp.
Good. I wanted to ask you, what was your graduating GPA? And if you don't mind telling us, because most times people believe, oh, it's scholarship is for people who are first class, it's for special people. And while I don't dispute that, I also believe that I didn't have a first class.
Mhm.
And I've enjoyed not paying tuition for a long time. I want you to tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so when you asked me to introduce myself, it was deliberate that I didn't mention my CGPA or my graduating class so as not to discourage people because I graduated with a first class. I was top 1% of my class. However, I would like to mention that graduating with a first class or being the best graduating student is just a part of a whole. And this is empirical when I put in for my Erasmus scholarship. So I applied for the Erasmus scholarship first in 2021 for 2022 intake. I didn't get the scholarship. And when the result was published, people that got it, they had 2-1. So and I was having a first class, so I didn't get in. So I re-strategized and reapplied, and I got it the second time. So this is just an indication that first class, graduating with first class is just a part of the whole. Although there are some scholarships that will outrightly state that this is meant for first class candidates alone. However, there are numerous opportunities that are not even after your grade. You just need to show that you are an individual of potential and it won't be a waste if you are being invested in.
So I want to state specifically that I'm not like him, right? I didn't have a first class. I had a 2-1, and my 2-1 wasn't a watered down 2-1. My GPA was 3.79 or thereabouts, or 3.8 for my bachelor's degree. And I remember clearly, like what he said, I had coached so many people, right? And I remember one of my mentees who had a first class also feeling like, oh, any scholarship I apply for, it's going to be a slam dunk. And I remember him applying for University of Saskatchewan, my school at
Yeah.
that time, and he didn't get in. He didn't get in. So he came back to me crying and feeling very disappointed that, oh, the school I got into with 2-1, that it didn't get in with first
With first
class.
class.
And then I said, what is in your application? What do you have? And how did you put your application together? Can I see your statement of purpose? What is in your resume? What did you do during your NYSC? How can we translate that to something that looks like a work experience that is in alignment with what you're trying to do? And I saw all of the loopholes. And I was able to tell him and say, look, you know, first class or 2-1 is one criteria. Yes, every school will set a minimum requirement and
Yeah.
say this is our minimum requirement. For most schools, 70% is the minimum requirement. Now, we have some schools who want more than that, 77% or some thereabout. But that is not all they need. And if you're on here, you're looking for scholarship, I think one thing I want you to first think about is take the scholarship process like it's a job. Like I'm applying for a job. If you're applying for a job, you're not going to put just your certificate in front of the employer and say, I have that, right? You will be thinking, can I put my work experience, can I align it, can I unify it so that it would look good in front of that person? And I want to talk about the role of your NYSC, because in all of these things, there are NYSCs and there are NYSCs. A lot of youth prefer to go to school where they would have leeways and be able to do whatever they like. Or they would post you to a meaningless place and you would just say, okay, I'm just going to be here in Ministry of Education and just come once a week and have nothing to show for it. I believe that every opportunity that you have been given, you have maximized. You have maximized. That is why your CV can be put together in such a way that it makes sense to somebody. Now, I believe if you can tell us during the NYC, some of the things you did in the library, how or your work during that time, how did that influence your application when you were putting it together?
Yeah, so during the course of my application, my research interest or my research focus was anything that has to do with peace and conflict, conflict prevention, peace building. And these are also some of the activities that was some of the documents I worked on during the course of my NYC as a digital archivist. We worked on some security related document. However, I understand that not every individual will be, because you don't have control over NYC. However, another thing you can leverage as a young graduate undergoing the NYC is the CDS, the Community Development Service. So during the course of my NYC, I was part of the Legal Aid Community Development Service and I was the PRO. So as a member of the Legal Aid Community Development Service, I was actively engaged. So at interval, we have sensitization, we visit correctional facilities, we visit some dignitaries like Ministry of Justice, we do some pro bono services. So all of these things put together are what make up my entire application.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because for the DAD scholarship and the Erasmus scholarship, you are to show volunteering experience. So there are some little things. I think so, what I realized is sometimes we tend to underplay some of the things we've done. It, it could be as simple as it could be as simple as a prep talk. During my course of serving as the presidential library, there's usually a prep talk we have every Monday whereby as a person or as a member of the, as a NYSC core member, you come up with a topic, educate every other person about it. It could be anything. It could be on climate, it could be on sustainability, it could be on anything. So all of this little engagement and all of this little contribution we give to the society is something we sometimes overlook. And when we don't see a pointer, or when we don't see individual to actually assist us in putting all of these certain things together, we might not realize that we actually worth more than we are presenting ourselves. So I think
Fantastic.
all of this experience was what I could put together to present myself as an ideal candidate for
Good.
different opportunities I've applied to.
I wanted to add a few things there. As I mentioned earlier, treat this like it's a job application. When you're thinking about that, think about what will attract any school to you. I feel like scholarship shouldn't be a fast, I want to get it in 2 months process. It's something that you can plan over a 1 year period to say, okay, this time 2025, I will be ready to apply to the schools I want. Or by the end of the year, I will be ready. Now, from now until the end of the year, you can make a plan. As he rightly explained, community service, volunteerism is usually respected by a lot of schools. You are in the healthcare sector, you have studied medicine, you're trying to study public health. World Health Organization, United Nations development programs, they're doing some sensitization. They're talking to people like health promotion stuff. You saw that happening in your neighborhood. You can sort for it. You don't even have to wait for it to be in your neighborhood. You can prepare and say, I want to go and volunteer in that place for 4 months so that I can have, first of all, experience in public health. Secondly, is it would serve as something on my CV that is directly related to public health, and that I can show that, okay, I have been volunteering in this capacity as a leader. These are some key things in health promotion that I can record that I did. In fact, some of these organizations, when you volunteer for them, it reaches 40 hours. They can write you a letter, a support letter to back up your application based on what you've done there. A lot of times as Africans, when we do things, we're always wondering, what is in it for me? You have time, you are on Twitter, you are on Instagram, but you don't have time to actually look and say, let me Google what volunteering opportunities are available in finance. Let me Google what volunteering opportunities are available in development, so that you can pick one or two and say, I want to invest 10 hours every week in that volunteering activities so that I will have something that makes sense on my resume. Another thing that I want to add there is building your competencies, building expertise. When all the work he did, he was learning and building maybe a few softwares that can help help you show these are competencies that I know. And I want to encourage you, in today's world, modernization is here to stay. Any professor is going to bet on you, is expecting that you are coming in as an expert. Nobody wants liability. If you think they're going to bring you in and train you, you lie. That is why I said treat it like it's a job. Start building competencies. Put an 8 month plan together. I want to build these competencies. I want to volunteer in this capacity, or I want to go and look for something that will connect me. First, what's the master's you're trying to do? What's the PhD you're trying to do? In what area? Because that will give you an understanding of what type of volunteerism you should be looking for, what type of skills you should be developing that has direct connection to that. Um, I want you to tell us a bit, what type of scholarships did you receive? And if you can tell us a little about each one, and also how long did it take you? How many applications did you do? A bit about the scholarship journey. I believe it will help the audience.
Yeah. So just as I mentioned, I started the application journey in 2021. However, when I started, I wasn't flexible. So I just wanted to apply to Canada. If you ask me why Canada, I don't. I just wanted
This
Canada.
follow,
I was,
follow, follow syndrome.
yeah, I think that's that's the right word. So when I applied to Canada, I applied to two schools, UMBC and Simon Fraser University. I got into UMBC with partial funding. I was like, no, I don't have the finance to take it up. So the following year, I was more flexible because I was not really big on location. The essence of this scholarship is to advance my education, professional career, and even personal development and give back to the society. So why should I be so focused on Canada? So that was when I became more flexible and started to source for other opportunity outside Canada and within Europe. And I put in for the DAD scholarship. So the DAD scholarship is funded by the German government, by the German federal government through the Federal Ministry of Education and Research with the public fund. So I put in for the DAD scholarship June. The application cycle is always open by June. The particular scholarship I got, because the DAD scholarship is really wide. So there's scholarship for masters, there's PhD, there's research, there's postdoc, and it cuts across various fields. So if you're in the sciences, there is something for you in DAD. If you are in the engineering, mathematics, just different field. However, the one I put in for is in the social sciences, and it's particularly for individuals who are interested in public governance, public policy, good governance, sustainability. So the application cycle opens by June and it closes by July. So I put in.
Did you hear that? When did you say it opens?
It opens by June.
June.
Yeah.
And June is in 1 month. That is why we're trying to do this IG Live now. June is 1 month away. If you are sitting here and saying, it's only, I have to wait until maybe March has passed. March has passed, or all these American scholarships has passed. America is not the only place that there is scholarship. Canada is not the only place that there is scholarship. You need to know the scholarship calendars for various countries. That way, when you know the scholarship calendars, then you know, oh, if I'm applying to what the scholarship you apply to, it opens in June. So the application I used in March, then I can use it and tailor it towards for this particular country, change my CV to their own CV style, change everything, and then I blast them for June. Every country has different scholarship application cycle. Now, which ones do you know? I personally feel like everybody's seeking this opportunity. You have an Excel sheet. Within that Excel sheet, you are looking to know scholarship open and close, dates for each countries. You are looking to know CV templates and formats for various countries. You are looking to know different programs options. Like he said his first year wasn't flexible. Flexibility shouldn't just even be about country. It should even be about program. Am I flexible? Maybe I have 2 to 3 types of program that I want to do. I want to give it back to you because I think I'm about to take over this conversation. So back to you. I got ready in June. All right.
Yeah, so for the DAD scholarship, it opens in June and closes July. The one I applied for, like I mentioned, there are various DAD scholarship and it opens at different time of the year, depending on your field of study and the type of DAD scholarship you're applying to. Then the second one I put in for was the Erasmus scholarship. So the Erasmus scholarship, usually Erasmus program opens around September and it closes like March. So it depends on it also depends on the Erasmus program you are applying to. So the one I put in for was from November to December. It was within November, December application space. And I also got the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Commonwealth Shared opens November 1st, and usually it's closed by mid-December. So maybe December 14 or 15. So I also put in for some other ones that I didn't get in, like the Chevening Scholarship, which opens August 2nd, closes sometimes around November, December as well. I also put in just so many. Just as you have rightly stated, what I did then was I had like it was not an Excel sheet, it was my application jotter. So where I know when each scholarship opens, when it closes, the requirement. So I informed myself ahead that, okay, this is the scholarship I intend to put in for. This is the application cycle. This is what is required. How does it align with my research interest and my long-term goal? And with this, I'm able to filter what I want to apply for and when I am to put in the application. So I think
you remember, like, how many applications did you do, and how many scholarships in total did you get?
yeah, I got 3 scholarships, which is the DAD scholarship, the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, and the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. However, my number of applications, to be sincere, I lost count because I really put in a lot, particularly in the first application cycle. And the reason why I had to put in that much was because when I started out the application, some of the
We didn't
scholarship
hear the number. You were broken. Around approximately how much?
maybe around 20, just to put in context. However, some of these scholarship they were just, some of them covered just tuition fee. So when I started out, I got some that covered maybe like 50% tuition fee or 100% tuition fee. However, I had this conviction that if I could get this 50% tuition fee, people are getting fully funded. And I consider myself as an individual of potential who could leverage this opportunity. So I just have this conviction to just be on the lookout for fully funded option, and eventually they came true. So just as I mentioned earlier, nothing is impossible with the right guidance and putting in the work. I think there's no limit to what any individual in this space can attain or achieve.
Good. I want to hear a few things, add a few things. When I did apply for scholarship, so when I was trying to get my master's, I didn't get a fully funded. I got the tuition waiver program in Finland. And that's the one I went for, tuition waiver, which means for feeding, for accommodation, I was still responsible for that. I took it anyway, and because that is at that point, that is what Finland had. It was a merit-based scholarship, and it was just tuition free, and I took that. Now, at that point, the UK, if they give you scholarship, they will even pay your transport fare on top. They would pay everything and they'll pay your transport fare. Why did I settle for Finland instead of trying out countries like the UK, who would give you everything? Or maybe come to the US, who would also give you everything. They won't pay transport for you to come, but they would give you enough to cover everything. Why did I settle for Finland? One of the reasons was lack of information. Secondly, imposter syndrome that was making me feel like I wasn't good enough. That is first class people that deserve that. And that me, because I have a tutu, I should just manage tuition fees, please. And I'm explaining this because number 3 was timing. I was thinking, I don't want to wait till next year. Let me just take this one and run with that and start. Now, I want to explain a few things there. When you are applying for scholarship, don't have it in mind that it will happen in 3 months. It will happen in 2 months. You're listening to Abiodun's story. He said the first year he didn't get it. He applied the second year. You have to be ready to fight. Just make sure the second year you do something differently. All right? Don't just do the same thing. Also, there are multiple application cycles. Let's say for this cycle, you got maybe like what I got that I moved on with, tuition free. You're not paying tuition, but you pay the rest. You could say, you know what, let me defer that and try in the next application cycle, which is usually 4 months or so, right? Or so in another country, there's another application cycle for you. If it's important for you to get full funding, the partial funding they gave you, you can defer until next term and try to hustle for another country, another school, another program that may have full scholarship. The second pointer there was on imposter syndrome. For most people that have second class lower, that have even 2-1, as you are hearing here, you have as eligible as the person that has first class. If you meet the cutoff, which is their requirement, if their requirement is 70%, if you meet that, you are as eligible as the first class person. Because remember, the people who are going to grade this assessment, they are looking for robust application. They are not just looking for you are first class, you are in, that person is out. But I know imposter syndrome is in your head. It's making you feel like you are not good enough. So when they give you that half funding, just take it like that. I'm telling you today that packaging your application, it's what you should focus on instead of just mediocring your qualifications or accepting the lower hand. On number of applications, Abiodun's journey was fast. Yes, it takes about two years or thereabout to get the scholarship. Mine took about 2 years. I applied to over 100 schools. When I was looking for PhD scholarship, over 100 schools. Why? Because I wasn't ready to go to Europe. I was in Europe for my master's. Europe was easier to get, but I didn't want Europe anymore. I wanted to go to North America, which was the holy grail. It was harder. I did over 100 applications. I'm explaining this because I don't want you to go away and say, they say by the time I do 20, I will have one. Everybody's grace is not the same. How you package your application is also not going to be the same. So I'm explaining this that first, applications take resilience, it takes strategy, have multiple countries you are working on. So if North America doesn't work, Europe, at least one country will come through there because the cycles are different. Also, the level of grading, they are different. Now, I wanted him to explain that because I have coached people who only had 2 applications done and they didn't get the scholarship that year. They will now come back and be crying. I applied to 2 schools, oh, I didn't get any. And oh, the program doesn't work. Doctor, I took your boot camp. I did this. How many schools did you do? 2. If you're on here, know that this journey is not going to be, I apply for 2, or thing come. It is not going to be, I want to go in September by force. It may take you 1 year, it may take you 2 years. Everybody's journey is not going to be the same. One of the big issues that most people have is application fees. Tell us a bit about application fees process for Europe and anywhere else that you applied to.
Yeah, I think most of the scholarship I put in for, they do not require application
Good.
fee. That I think that was one of the thing. That was one of the reason why I didn't bother Canada the following year because it's so difficult to get application waiver in Canada. Because I put in for Europe and I put in for some schools in the US for PhD opportunity. I got on reservation list at the University of Massachusetts, but I didn't get into that program because I wasn't having GRE. So that is additional information to show that when you're applying for these various opportunities, it's also important that you have all required documents because it was stated on the website that GRE will be considered. However, I wasn't having GRE, so I got on reservation list. I was asked to provide the GRE within a given period. I couldn't, and that was all. But for most of the applications I put in for in Europe, they do not require application fee. And
Good.
those in the US, you can always ask for waiver.
Apply for waiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Canadian. I want to tell you that Canada is bougie. Canada is the most bougiest of them all. When it comes to scholarship, they are stingy. When it comes to issuing scholarships, they don't even have a lot. I would tell you today, the House of Innovation is far away from Canada. When it comes to research and development, if you are on here and you're every day targeting Canada, you are sitting on a long thing. I went to school in Canada. I got a PhD scholarship. But like I said, 100 application. You have to cut your coat according to your size, the size of your patients. Because it's not everybody that want to pay tuition application fees. I was working in Finland as a cleaner. I was taking the money of a cleaner to pay application fees for Canadian schools because I was targeting Canada and the US. If you are on here, you don't have a lot of money and you are thinking, I have to go to Canada. They have to give me free full funding. You are sitting on a long tail bicycle because the amount of money for application fees is a bother. Why I like Europe schools is the fact that a lot of them, there's no application fees in Europe. They don't do it. So if you are here, you're thinking, I need a pathway to at least Japa abroad for school. If you are in your 20s, there's nothing stopping you from going to Europe. Go and start from Europe. I started from Europe. I just don't want you to stay there after that school, Japa come North America, all right? But go and start in Europe because of the low barrier to entry. The schools, when it comes to innovation, Europe is leading top. When I went to Finland, by the time I got to Canada, it looks like Canada was 10 years backward because Finland, when it comes to technology, they were way advanced. Yes, they won't let you get a job, but you would learn technology at the top of the line. I'm explaining this because you have to think through what are your priorities. You have to be able to think through that. If you have money, you have $100, $120 for application fees, and you want to apply to 10 or 20, calculate it to very well, $2,000, 4,000. I paid a lot of those fees. I was able to get application waiver for US schools when I was trying to come to North America from Europe. But Canada school, they didn't forgive me. I was paying and they were shamming rejection. One sharing to the somewhere your application is put together properly. There's a professor that is saying once they give you something, come to me. They'll still sharing rejection. You want a professor, this is important for you to know. So don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Spread it out to multiple locations. Go to the low-hanging fruits that require no application fees. Go and ask for application fee waiver for in other places like the US. And as this said, requirement matters. If you are thinking you want to take this serious, you need to know not only the must-have, the nice-to-have. The school may say 70% GPA is needed. They could say GRE is a nice-to-have. Even when they tell you GRE is a nice-to-have, can you, if you still have time, can you try and write the GRE? If they say TOEFL is a nice-to-have, can you write the TOEFL? Why? It sets you apart. It helps you a lot further in your application. Laziness in your help. You are looking for free money. You want to go to free school and you don't want to do anything. You just want miracle to happen. They will just give you the scholarship. It's not going to happen. Please put in the effort. No, if I am the one looking for what you're looking for, I would want to study maybe 20 schools in the US. Look at the requirements. Do an Excel sheet. Must have, nice to have. Go to Canada if it's still your option. Look at the requirement from 20 schools. Then put together must have, nice to have. Lastly, go to Europe. Numerous important scholarships. What are the nice to have and must have? Get all the nice to have and must have. Don't just rush to scholarship. I'm applying with a credential or portfolio that is almost empty. Okay, now back to scholarships. Thank you for sharing those insights. And I hope that you are picking things from what he's sharing. I want to ask the type of scholarships you got. Because I lived in Europe. Erasmus Mundus is #1 scholarship in Europe. I remembered when he got these 3 scholarships, he had written to me and said, which one should I pick? Doctor, which I'm like, this one, the program looks good, but this one, because I know how prestigious the scholarship is, the program also looks good. Let's look at things holistically. I want to ask, like, getting these scholarships, if you can break down, I don't know whether you were privy to what helped your application. If you can break down, because you got the best of the best. Dad, I mean, that is Germany. If you are if you, I mean, if you're looking for scholarship right now, those are the scholar. If you are a dad scholar, you are a top scholar in Germany. For Erasmus, you can go to maybe 3 to 4 countries
Yeah,
to do
to
your
study.
masters. So you will get serious international exposure. These are the top European scholarships. These are scholarships that are like Chevening scholarships for the UK. They're on that level for Europe. If you can tell us some of the things that you feel this helped me, how this helped me in my application for me to win this type of prestigious scholarship, I think that would help the audience. Secondly, I think, yeah, let's just get you to do that verse.
Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, I think uh, putting all documents together is essential. So, starting with the CV, I think the first thing is to start with the scholarship itself. So, when applying to any scholarship, it is important to read through the scholarship thoroughly, check through the department. How does this scholarship align with your own career goal or your research interests? How do you fit in as an individual? How do you contribute to the overall purpose or aim and objective of the scholarship? So when you are able to evaluate this and you see how everything fits together as one, the next thing is to start putting together the required documents. So usually, although most scholarship have like different requirements, however, there are certain things that cut across board. So when you're applying for a scholarship, you know your academic CV is required, your statement of purpose or motivation letter is required, your work experience, and some other things. And if you are looking at places like the US, you know you might be required to submit maybe like TOEFL or GRE or GMAT. So putting together all of this in the best possible way, I think that's what makes a nice application. And particularly the motivation letter, how well you are able to tell your story and convince the evaluating committee that this scholarship, why you as an individual deserve the scholarship from the multitude of every other person that has applied for the scholarship. I think it's essential. And as a prospective scholar, some of these things we might not be able to get it done ourselves, or sometimes it might take time if you're just running a task out to. I remember when I wanted to write my first SOP for the Canadian school, I saw on the website what they are looking for in an SOP, but I was thinking, where do I start from? How do I write it? However, with different engagements like joining several events like this, like the quarantine with Dr. Adi you did in 2020, and many other similar events, and putting in for boot camp. I think sometimes as young people, there are some things that we don't want to spend money on. I said to my brother, I told my brother when I saw the invitation for today's event, I told him, I said, I'm still saving money for Dr. Adi's career boot camp, because we can never figure it out ourselves. So it's important we enroll for boot camps like this,
Good.
which gives us more clarity as regard how to put in a solid
Thank
and
you.
holistic
I
application.
want to tell people here, those videos that he's talking about, they're still on my YouTube. They're there. In 2020, when there was COVID, I brought Professor Charles. I brought PhDs. They broke down from SOP, right? Your SOP like this. How to talk to professor. If you're looking for professor, which is a critical component for Canada, how do you approach the professor? How do you find the professor? Break down. I remember Killian came to talk about how do you write a very good, strong SOP for the US. She's a US professor. And all of this information, they're available on my YouTube channel. You can still go and dig through them and sit down with them. They are still relevant till today. And I want to buttress a few things that he said. Putting your application together is about storytelling. Storytelling. I would read some SOPs and I would start laughing. The SOP will bash Nigeria as the worst place on earth. They would use Nigerian card as their reason for just wanting to get out. No, you cannot do that. You need to be able to put an application together that is not just based on pity, that is based on a compelling story of who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you're trying to do. And I want to admonish us today that some of these things may not be free. I just told you, go to my page. There is free resources there. Some of them you may have to pay. Will come and work with us. And say, okay, we have a replay for our whole boot camps, $200. You can buy those. Oh, I don't have a lot of money. I want to do it by myself. Those are resources all compiled together that you can use and say, you know what? I would invest something in yourself. Now, we want to move forward. I want to talk to us. I want him to talk to us he's talked to us about his application process. And I want you to tell us, was there a sort of interview? Because in North America, there could be, when they give you a scholarship or they're about to decide, they'll reach out to you for an interview. Did you go through any interview for any of these scholarships that you got?
Yeah.
Secondly, how did you narrow down to, because you got like 3 different scholarships, how did you narrow down to the one you picked?
Yes, for the DAD scholarship, there was an interview before the final selection. So what I did was, when I received the invitation for the interview, I went to LinkedIn and check out other scholars that are already in the program. So I was able to reach out to some of them and told them I've just received a notification for scholarship. Do you have tips as regard what to do or my expectation or what to expect? So they gave me some general overview as regard what to expect from the interview, which was very helpful. And in addition to that, whenever I take scholarship interview, what I also like to do, I also like to ask the panel questions. So it's not just about the panel asking me a question, because they always give room for telling you, do you have any question for us? So I also like to ask the panel question just to show that this is really something I'm interested in, and it's not just just picking. I don't know how to put it, but just to show that I'm really interested in that particular program or the scholarship I'd applied to.
Okay, thank you. I want to share a few tips. Just give me a second. I am supposed to have a meeting in 8 minutes, so I'm moving it by 30 minutes so that we can be on here to help people a lot further, if you don't mind. A few things, like I said earlier, consider scholarship like it's a job. When you apply for a job, you just don't get it without interviewing. If you consider it like a job, then you should be expecting that they could call me into an interview for me to explain why am I the best candidate for this. How prepared are you if they call you for an interview for a job? How prepared are you for this? So don't just say I'm putting applications together. I want you to be able to think through your strategy that you would use to answer questions when the time comes. I ask a second question. How did you pick the one you picked as this is the one that I would go for?
Yeah, so I got the DAD scholarship and the Erasmus Mundus Plus scholarship almost at the same time. However, for the Erasmus, it's funded by the European Union, and you get to study in like 4 to 5 different European countries, starting from the UK. So I was like, I don't want to go to the UK. So that was because the two scholarship for my DAD scholarship, my program is Peace and Conflict Studies, and for the Erasmus scholarship is Masters in Intelligence, Security, and Strategic Studies. So these two programs, they are both 2 year master program. The program module is exactly the same thing. However, I thought of Germany. I've not heard of so many people go to Germany, and Germany is non-speaking, non-English speaking country. And I check out some research about even before putting in the application for the DAD. I saw that the universities are prestigious, diverse, uh, multi-international student community. So I just thought to myself, okay, let me challenge myself into picking this. And the DAD scholarship also comes with 6 months language program. So as a lover of language, I thought to myself, maybe in 6 months I will be able to speak a very good German. So all of this was what I thought of,
Thank you.
which
Thank you
made
for
me take
sharing
my
that.
decision.
First, I want his work to motivate you that you will struck good. That if you have the right profile, it will struck gold. You may not even just get one scholarships, you can get multiple. Secondly, I think if this happens to you, first, you need to assess what's your future plan. Which one align properly with your future plan? Now, maybe his own future plan with the type of work he does, he may need an extra language to help him get a job with the United Nations or something like that. Then he picked this because of that. When this happens to you, I want you to think through, even before you apply to any school, even if before you choose any career path, I want you to assess, what am I trying to do with this when I'm done? As that would help you, first of all, guide you towards which one to pick when you have multiple options. If you're trying and saying, I want to get scholarship, I feel like that will help you in terms of what program to pick. Now, his name is Abiodun. I want to add a few things here when it comes to people making decisions like this, because I am one of the advocate for Leave Europe. I am. I'm hoping that um, you know, people go there, they get the knowledge, they get everything. If you happen to want to stay in Europe, for example, you need a language. You need to be able to speak the language. And I want to say this to you. If you're thinking, oh, I want to start to apply to German schools, I think through, can I go to some German classes? And even if it's just a small German, imagine in your interview, if that happens to be something you speak a bit of, it will make you stand out. It will make the people who are interviewing you be convinced that you can pretty much get into the system. Now, I want to give you a few of my tips for I'm applying to scholarships, some of the things that I feel like you would do. I walk you through a few processes now. I feel like the first thing is sit down to think, what is the career path that I want to go to? And sit down and think, how can I align that with what I've done? My education, my work experience. When there is a very easy connection between your education, your work experience, and where you are going, scholarships are easier. When there is disconnect, you have studied physics, you have been working in the bank as customer service. Now you are looking for scholarship and you are looking for an MBA scholarship. That is three disconnects. Getting that scholarship is going to be almost impossible. Look at his life. Everything is done, they align properly. That's why we could be talking about any scholarship here. If you are on this call, you need to be able to find an alignment between your education, your work experience, and what you want to study, because that is what will lead to good storytelling and a convincing story. Now, once you find the alignment, you want to see, are there other things I can add to buffer the story, to buffer the alignment to make it even better, like volunteering, like getting the skill sets, like learning language. Some of these things you want to make sure you're developing a good package, not just basing it on there is connection between my education and work experience. Now, I want you to start to think, Abiodun, because I want you, after I finish, I would ask you a question that you would tell us a few places people can go to find scholarship, please. So going back to what I'm explaining, once you find that alignment and you know this is the career or this is now what I want to start applying for, don't just have one thing you want to start applying for. Have flexibility. Have at least 2 to 3 programs that you can get in. So let's say your background is physics and you know that you worked in a mining industry, maybe as a systems engineer or instrumentation and control. Now, when you're looking for masters, you can say, I'm still looking for masters in physics because your work experience align well. You can also see at that time, I'm looking for masters in instrumentation and control. You have work experience in that. It also aligns with your education. Now, you can't leave all of that. Or you can say, I'm looking for masters in maybe petroleum engineering. You've been working in mining. They will still take you. But you can't leave all of that and say, I'm looking for masters that is an MBA and I want scholarship. Nobody's going to give you that scholarship. You've been doing engineering, there is nothing business that you've done, and all of a sudden you switch and say, give me scholarship for an MBA. There's disconnection. I feel like this is where most people get it wrong. Maybe because somebody has told you about an MBA or you want to get into tech. You now look at everything he's done, how beautiful it is. Imagine if all of a sudden he's now looking for masters and he said, I'm looking for data analytics masters. How will they give him data analytics if his background is off? So I think that many times people are looking for scholarship that is not going to be possible to get. Make sure there is a good alignment. Now, after the alignment, choose 2 to 3 countries. You can see his options. He was considering the UK, he was considering Germany, he applied, choose 2 to 3 countries. Study what are the scholarship databases available within this country. So you can have, a good amount of these are the scholarship databases I will visit. When you visit them, okay, start to list out opening and closing dates for a lot of those scholarships. You're working with 2 to 3 countries. Remember, you're working with 2 to 3 also career paths or scholarship program titles that you're looking for. So have Excel sheet to be able to understand this. Understand the requirement, as we talked about earlier. As you put down all of the list, this is when the scholarship open, this is when it closed. What do they require? If I didn't talk to my professor in Canada, if I didn't shut him up, I won't get that scholarship. There are programs that you have to have connection with a professor. A professor needs to say yes to you. Find out for this particular school, for this particular type of scholarship, do I need an advisor to say yes to me? Know the requirement first. Imagine if I was pushing application through University of Saskatchewan and just sending and paying application fees without knowing that I actually need to find an advisor. I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money. Know the requirement. Now, as I said, everything is not going to be free. Yes, you're going to be able to get some information online for free. Find a program, find a mentor, register for a boot camp, get on some programs so that you have enough information to help you. And I want to say this. If you're one of those people who just consistently say, I'm going to Canada, if scholarship is what you're looking for, Canada has the lowest amount of it. I'm not against you going to Europe to start. If you're looking for low-hanging fruits careers, go there. There are so many good scholarships that will at least help you get something started, especially in your 20s. And I want to say this. You can always do informational interviews. There are people like you who have gone ahead of you. If you don't have LinkedIn, you're looking for scholarship, you're lying to yourself. You need to open a good LinkedIn profile. There is every day, there's so much good scholarship information being shared, conversations being started. People get it because I follow a lot of different things. Go to LinkedIn, open it, follow different pages, start following all those people getting scholarships, announcing, follow all of them. So that when there is an opportunity, maybe there's an interview coming up, or you are trying to apply to the school they are in, go and reach out to them. You may reach out to 15 and only one person reply, but somebody or two will reply to give you some support. Don't do this journey alone. It's not a journey to say I'm good at what I do, I have a first class, I'm smart. Don't do it alone. I remembered I did my own journey alone for a while. I was just applying, I wasn't getting anything. One day, my uncle called me from Canada. I was still in Finland. And he told me, he said, there's a school called University of Saskatchewan. They have medical engineering. You said that's what you're looking for. Do you want to check them out? Check them out and apply. You know, I've applied to Saskatchewan before and it didn't work out. But my uncle said, go back. Actually, they have Nigerian professors there. One of them, I grew up with him, Professor Deshi. Look at his profile, look at what he does. That motivated me further, and I did a second application to that school. And my uncle, he lives in Canada, so he gave me some tips. I think you should do this. I think you should have a few things like this. That I wrote to, he said, go and write to that Professor Deshi and write to a couple of other professors. He told me, read a few published papers of those professors before you write to them. Read that. So I went ahead, started reading publications of those professors. The first professor I wrote to at University of Saskatchewan back replied. He replied, don't be lazy about finding out about the school. You are trying to go to a school. You can't just say, I read what the requirement is. Go and look at that department. What innovative work are they doing? Have they gotten a new grant? What is that grant about? Who are the professors that are in there? Download a few of their papers. Read those papers so that when you are writing your SOP, you will infuse elements of what those people are doing into your SOP. So it makes it look like your goal aligned with the school goals. You can't be writing off topic. You can't use one CV for everybody. You can't use one SOP for everybody. It has to be tailored. You can't say in 2 hours I've applied to one school. That's not enough. I think you need enough time to study about that school, know a lot about each of the professors that are maybe a few professors in that department that aligns with your goal, extract information from those pages, keywords that you can now infuse into drafting a very compelling statement of purpose. Look, whichever boot camp, help, even if you come on our personalized program, you are not, we will do two SOP. If you buy the bootcamp, we are giving you all SOP templates. You are going to have to be ready to work. Nobody is going to apply to 50 schools for you. No, you are going to be ready to say, I want to fight this. I want to fight for this. I want to get this. I believe most times people are not preparing their mind enough to be ready. And they always think once I have gone to one boot camp or have paid for one program, all my problem is solved. No. Everything they teach you, you have to internalize it enough to know how to apply it. Because you will need to now go ahead and implement those strategies, find those schools, apply to them. This program or this process that you're about to start, maybe you've been doing it a different way before. I want you to pick a few things that you can add today, whether it is better discipline, whether it is getting an Excel sheet open, whether it is you researching the professors to find out what each department have, whether it's now focusing on Europe. I want you to add a few things to what you already do. Now, Abiodun, I want you to tell us if people are looking for scholarships in Europe specifically, where would you suggest that they go to for them to at least be able to get a few scholarships that they can focus on? Thank you.
So the question is where to search.
Yes.
Okay. I will start by mentioning that if you're just joining, just finding Dr. Adi's page for the first time, maybe from my audience, this is a good place to start because at interval, Doctor posts several opportunities which it's also helpful. That is one. Then secondly,
let me add that if you are looking for a scholarship, you are not following us on Twitter. You are not looking for scholarship. We have somebody dedicated to mine scholarship and post every Wednesday and Saturday. If you go on our Twitter, Wednesday, Saturday, you can't see road. That person's job is put at least 50 scholarships on our Twitter page. So if what you're looking for is a scholarship, find this handle. Yes, follow here. But that Twitter one is dedicated for scholarship. It's what we are pumping out Wednesday, Saturday. Find it, lock in there. They post everything, STEM, non-STEM, anything. Internships is there. Back to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Then secondly, there are countries application circles. So for example, places like the US, if you're looking for a master or PhD scholarship opportunity in the US, most PhD program in the US are funded, most like 99% of them. And the application cycle usually opens from September till January. The same thing with Canada. So once you can search through the US news websites and go to the education section, you will find different school, different program with scholarship opportunity. The third option would be government scholarship. So if you just go to Google and you just search maybe Government of Nigerian Scholarship or Government of Germany Scholarship for International Students or Government of UK Scholarship for International Students, you will definitely find something. So that's the third one. The fourth option would be there are a lot of popular, well-known scholarship that has a static or a stable application and closing date. So for example, you know that the Chevening, it opens by 2nd of August. You know that the Commonwealth Shared opens 1st of November. You know that the Erasmus Scholarship opens from September till March. You know the DAD Scholarship opens all year round, depending on your research area of focus. So this is another way you can always find a scholarship opportunity. Another option would be to check through departmental programs or to check through school websites to start with. So there are some scholarships that are just limited to some particular schools or to some particular schools. So you know, if you're applying for University of Oxford, there are several scholarships at the scholarship session, which you might be eligible for one or two. There are also faculty scholarship. So aside from the school, you can look into your prospective faculty. There are a lot of scholarship there that you might want to leverage on. There are also departmental scholarship. So putting aside faculty, there are some departments that have funding for some research or for some program that you might also want to leverage. And there are some scholarship that you have to reach out to the dean, like dean scholarship. So these are also other options to look at. There are also scholarship that you get from professors, just as Dr. Adi has mentioned earlier. So when you read through some professors' page and publication and you see how it aligns with your research interest or your career goal, you can always write them that, oh, you're a prospective, you can always send code email mentioning that, oh, you're a prospective student looking at advancing your education or professional career through the study from this school, and you would like to know if there are funding available. If there is any funding, you will definitely be informed. So that's another option. And another option, still using Google, could be to search your discipline by putting it in quotes. So you can put scholarship in quotes and put your discipline in quotes. So you can put scholarship in quotes in maybe it's mass comm, you can put in quotes. If there's any additional keyword if there's any additional keyword, you can always put this in quotes. And when you search through Google, it will bring up various opportunities that you can apply to. So these are just few of that. Okay, aside from that, there are also scholarship platforms. For example, I'm on Opportunity Dex, I'm on a scholarship region, and I'm on what is the third one? Scholarship Corner. Yeah. So these are public platform. They have an Instagram page. They are on WhatsApp. They are on Telegram. So these are a public platform you can also enroll for, or you can also register with your email. And at interval every day, you get a lot of opportunities. And this is not just limited to scholarship alone, even for fellowship, conferences, internship. So I think these are just few of diverse and numerous ways we can always seek opportunity as
Thank you.
progressive scholar.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to share a few things. I went to school in Finland and I kind of know a bit about the application deadlines for different countries and I have them listed out on my list here. I'll be calling them out as well. Now, for most countries in Europe, they have fall semester and spring semester. Fall semester, which usually starts in September, October in some countries, and then the spring it starts around March, April, depending on whether they have it open. Now, most people usually focus on the fall semester application and they leave the spring semester alone. But this is also an option. For Finland, the fall application for fall, the application really opens January 1st to March 31st. So if that's where you want to go and you want fall, that's what you should be looking at. Now, spring semester, which usually starts in January, they start their own opening May 1st to July 1st. So for spring semester, which starts in January 2025, for Finland, a lot of those applications, they are currently open.
Open.
So if you're thinking, I already have my documents, or I'm going to enroll on Dr. Adi's service or any of those and put them together, I want to go to Finland, to right now is a good time if you're trying to go in January for spring semester. Now, Finland has, it's easy to find a lot of their information together, right? Studyinfinland.fi. They have different information for various schools that are on that place alone. That you can just go there and find Lati and find the university I went to, Tampere, and everybody. Their information in one easy place. Now, for Germany, which he is in, they also have fall and spring semesters. And fall, it's April 15th to July 15th. You heard him talk about the scholarship he has that is going to start June, right? So you need to be able to visit places. At least that range is currently open for September admission. So you can still go to Germany this year if you take advantage of now, because now is the period for Germany. They also have their own second spring semester, which starts March, April, the following year. October 1st to December 1st is the opening and closing period. Now, for each school, they may pick June 1st to July 1st, depending on whatever they want. But put that in mind. So as you're searching, if you're still thinking, I want to still go this year, right? I want to go this year. There are still places in Europe where you can still apply because their opening time is currently ongoing. I have done Finland and Germany. So I have here also for Sweden. Sweden and Finland, they are family members, they are friends, right? So fall semester, April 1st to April 19th, if you want to resume August, September. Spring semester starts in January. They're opening for Germany, for Sweden is very close. Opening, if you want to go next year, January, you have to apply between October 1st and October 19th. It's very short because they don't take a lot of people for spring semester. So they didn't open it for so long. Now, for Norway, for their own fall semester, it starts, they open, which are their own applications close between February 1st for bachelor's program and March 1st for master's program. They it's not the same for bachelor's program and master's. And for spring, they open between September 1st and October 1st. Now, it depends on the country you want to go in Europe, right? So you need, like I said, pick 2 countries or 3 countries in Europe and then focus on, okay, now I want to get information about my own career path and focus on pretty much dwindling down the information, knowing the requirements and all the other things we've talked about, and hopefully you can put together a good application. I went to Europe, and I'm one of those people telling people if you have other options, take it. Why? Because you can always start from somewhere, but being complacent and relaxing there if that place doesn't favor you is the problem. Europe have very good education. I mean, some of the best in the world. So I believe that you can go start there. You can do your master's there. You can do a PhD there. And if you're still thinking, I really want to go to Canada, start planning while you're there. You heard Abiodun say, I want to attend to Dr. Adi's career bootcamp. So I can have, you can start planning is stage 2, which is maybe I want to get a job, or what do I want to do when I'm done. Don't just have one plan. Don't have plan to just jackpot. Have plan that has to do with your career. Personally, I believe that information will help you, but I also believe that two other things will help you. Motivation helps you first. If you're not motivated to do all of these things, regardless of how much information people push to you, you still will not get it. And number 3 is getting the right support. Don't even just get one support. Get as many support as you need. And as I explained earlier, please go and have a profile on LinkedIn, because it will expose you to more network. It will also expose you to more information. Abiodun, if there are things that you felt like this was a regret for me, or based on where you are right now, what advice do you have for our brothers and sisters who are on this journey, who are trying to get scholarship? Secondly, you are now abroad in a country where they don't speak English. For those people coming behind you, whether they're going to Norway or Finland or Germany, country where they don't speak English, if you can also give them advice in terms of what to pay attention to so that they can succeed. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, let me start from the second one. Yeah, so for Germany, I think I was fortunate because the DAD scholarship comes with a 6-month language program, which helps me to better integrate into the system. And in addition to that, my master program is in English. So I'm not taking, there are master programs in German and their master program in English. So my own master program is in English, and every professor and colleague, friends, all speak English. So it makes it easier for me. And with the 6-month language program I've taken, and there's also provision to keep learning the language in the school. So with that, you are able to navigate through the daily life through the daily life as an international student in this part of the world. That's for the second question. And for the first question, I would say for those who are just putting in or who are still on the journey, it is not easy just to put. However, that doesn't mean it is impossible. Just as I mentioned, if you're on this call, there's no limit to what you can achieve. That I believe. I just saw a story of a lady that got into Oxford, and I said to myself, I could also get a scholarship. It could take time, but with the right resources, the right people, and putting in the right word, there is nothing that is not attainable. And another thing I would like to mention, which people seeking opportunity tend not to pay attention to, is when it comes to recommendation letter. So recommendation letter is an essential and big part of application process. And when you want to get this recommendation letter, definitely they are usually from professors, which most of us, probably after schools, we just forget about our professors, or we don't get in touch with them, which is very bad. I submitted an application last week for an internship at the United Nations University, and it was my professor from my undergraduate program that wrote me the recommendation letter for this application, even though I've left school since like 4 or 5 years ago. So I would employ everyone here to try as much as possible to build connection and relation with the undergraduate professor. If you ask me how do I do it, very simple. At interval, I reach out to them. It could be on festive, just send message to them on their birthday, celebrate with them. At interval, just check on them. With that, you can keep the relationship as as long as possible. And if your program requires you to have like a research, because having research is also a good way of building your profile as a prospective scholar or as someone that is looking into getting a PhD opportunity. So you can always request to work on research papers with your professors. They will be very happy because that shows that you are an individual who is ready to put in the work, and they'll be very happy to accommodate you. So these are also ways of building connection and keeping in touch, which is an essential part of application
So I
process.
want to add something from a science perspective. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my professor, Dr. Vincent. I graduated in 2008. If I still need recommendation letter tomorrow, Dr. Vincent will still write it. Bachelor's, after my bachelor's, when I was doing my master's application, he wrote me a recommendation letter. When I was doing my PhD application, he wrote me an application letter. And I've kept in touch with Dr. Vincent now since 2008 till now. Well, that is how many years? 16 years. And somebody is saying your professors are nice. Nice is a two-way street. What you sow is what you reap. Like you heard from Abiodun, professors are writing journals. They want someone who can come and be a part of that research. Have you ever thought to reach out to your old professor and say, is there something you're working on that I can contribute to? I'm interested in this type of research. You have not. That's why they've not been nice to you. Have you reached out? What type of impression did you leave? Even if you didn't leave a good impression, you are out of school now, you are now colleagues. I believe if you reach back out to them, they'll be open for a dialogue. Take that step. Now, I want to add a few things for people in sciences. There is power in having a portfolio. It always helps me. When I was looking for my PhD admission, the professor who eventually took on me, I went and read his papers. He had done some analysis, and I know that he could do it in another way, using a different software. So I have done something like that in a different way. I just took my own data that I analyzed, and I compressed it, and I put it into like pictures as well in a presentation with the raw data results in a way that if he clicks it, it will show up and he can peruse through. And I email him. I introduced myself, attached my CV, and said I did a master's in something like this, like that, which I see that it is work done per this paper that he published 2 months ago. I told them I took time to read that paper, and my own previous work, my master's thesis, I did this what he did using another method. Attached is a presentation to show you the method I use, how my images turn out. In fact, I'm attaching my original result to this thing. I put that result in a drive, so you could click on it and go to that drive. That man is the one that gave me scholarship. Why? Because pictures and data tell 1,000 words. He didn't need me to say I am good. My work already said I am good. He saw my work and he saw that my work was better than his work. And he said, this is a new method. I said, yeah, this is the level of cutting edge technology that we are applying here at Tampere University of Technology. However, I believe that I can contribute on his team. I'm not looking to come in. I'm looking to come in to contribute. Learn to present yourself in a way that makes the other person sees your contribution. Immediately he saw that, within 24 hours, he already sent me the letter to take to the embassy. He wanted me right away. Why? Data don't lie. If you are in sciences, oh, I'm doing mechanical engineering, and my area of expertise has something to do with CAD design, with simulation. Have you actually run serious, maybe CFD simulation? Do you have it in a portfolio? So that when you see a professor that is doing that and you're trying to pitch yourself to them, that is something to show. Somebody said earlier, yeah, I'm a chemist. You're a chemist. That's great. What type of analysis have you done? Can we package that into a portfolio for you? Do some SCM imaging, do some other imaging, and put them together in a way that let that person see that you can use the equipment that are in their lab. Your application doesn't just depend on your CV. I believe having portfolio is one of the best things that happened to my career, because I believe him just saying that. I didn't even apply to the school. My uncle just said, go and check the professor's out, do this and do that. And that prompted me to create a portfolio after I read his work. Don't just submit very bland and boring application. Spice it up with something. And we in the sciences, we have an opportunity to generate those portfolio. Now, part of the things we teach on our the boot camp replays, what we're selling now, is how do you put together a portfolio that you can use for any application that you're doing in your field. My people, your skin color, the school you went to, all of that has nothing to do with whether you would get scholarship. What has everything to do with whether you get scholarship is, first, you being ready to do the work. Secondly, is you just being out here looking to get more information. Number three, building those relationship. Last one, be daring. Things that in your head, something is telling you you don't qualify. So far you read the requirements, you qualify. Don't let anything make you feel like you're too small to do it. Go ahead and apply. Pray as part of it, because there's always an element of God. And hopefully you get a good result. Abiodun, I personally am thankful to God for you. You are a fantastic example for Nigerians, young Nigerians, old Nigerians. Why? People think scholarship is only meant for engineers. They think scholarships are only meant for people in tech. They are overlooking every day. Nigerians are overlooking biologists. They are overlooking international relations. They are overlooking people in development. They are overlooking so many people who are doing social work. They are overlooking teachers. They are overlooking so many good careers that have tremendous opportunity abroad. And I believe that some people have probably doubly told you, "Ah, is that what you studied in school? I made you feel small. But look at where you are." And I'm talking to you. If maybe it is French that you studied, we've helped people get scholarships on that. Maybe you studied conflicts like him. Maybe you studied development. Maybe you even studied botany. There are opportunities for you. There are opportunities, great one for you. Abiodun, I want to give you an opportunity to tell them anything else, any shout outs before we close out. Again, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We want to give you the last opportunity.
Yeah, so I would just like to appreciate everyone who was part of the event today, and also appreciate Dr. Adi for always being here for us, giving out valuable information at interval, showing us possibility and that there's nothing we can achieve as an individual. And if you're on this call today, the best part to start your application journey is now. And by putting in the work with the right resources, the right information, you could be the next guest, and we will be at the audience and just listening and nodding and smiling. So if you're on this call today, just once you're just ready to take action with the right resources, I believe there is no limit to what any individual can achieve. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who took time out to join. I'm going to tag Abiodun with his permission so that he can also accept. So his audience on the other side too will get an opportunity to rewatch it. If you're interested in any of our programs, whether it is the replay of the boot camp, you want to know more about our scholarship programs, please slide into the DM. There will be people there who would help you, provide you with all of the information you need. Just know you have an opportunity to conquer. If I could do it with my second class lower, if Abiodun could do it with the type of program he studied that people would say is that good enough, you can do it too. Nigeria is great, but we can go outside and get education for free. It is possible for you. Thank you for, and I want to emphasize this. I have worked with people who are second class lower and still got scholarships in Europe. and still got scholarships in America. Canada does not give second class lower scholarship, but America does and Europe does. Even if you are on here, you're saying, ah, I didn't have 2-1, I didn't have first class. With your second class lower, if we can tell a compelling story with what you have, you can still secure your scholarship. Thank you, everybody. We'll share this. You can rewatch it and share it with as many people as needed it. Go on our Twitter, lock yourself in there. On here, we also share scholarships every week, different information for you. And if you are coming from our buildings page, welcome to the family. We're happy to have you here. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for sharing this with us. I know that you've been saving up and say, I want to come to the next career bootcamp. You are coming for free. We will
Yay!
give that to you as a compensation for doing this for us. So thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Doctor.
Thank you, Abiodun. All the best with school, all the best with where this leads you. I believe it would be great. And just know that I'm here to support you. You've been Abiodun. If you followed me for 3-4 years, it was always the first person to comment on my post. I'm like, this person has my notification on, and that is how I slide into his DM to get to know him more and saw that he was working on all of this. Thank you for allowing me to be a little part of your journey, for sharing your successes with me. And thank you again for joining us. This is Goodbye. Abiodun's handle will be part of what we share here, so you will be a part. Don't go and be disturbing him that he should come and review your application. Please, he's in school. But I know that he's a good man. You know, if you ask him 1 or 2 questions, he may reply. But thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, Abiodun. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
everybody. Bye now. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.